Well, Thane, Beijing responded to those comments, calling them absurd and irresponsible. Your reaction?
Mike, before I do, let me just go on the record and say I thought Luke sounded like summa cum laude to me. He might have, he denies it, but I don't know. I think he's a little cagey. That's a smart guy.
Take it till you make
Very
it.
much
Appreciate
so.
it.
So, well, look, President Xi does not need to be told by President Biden that he is a dictator. People who function in that capacity don't need to be reminded of it. And in fact, sometimes they might take it even as a compliment. The interesting thing is, given what just happened yesterday to Putin, remember, there are a number of countries around the world where the people who lead them, whether it's Hungary, China, Russia, Iran, think of themselves as strong men, right? That's the term of art we always hear, right? A strong central government led by someone who really is not subject to any political implications in terms of democratic transitions. And so what we did see yesterday is that Putin, in terms of his command of his own nation, comes off the board a little, right? A strong man has real aversion to potential coups. And the world yesterday saw what looked like something like a coup in progress that somehow got averted. I agree with Luke. Like, how did that happen? How did it go from that to, never mind, we're kidding, we're going back to Ukraine to fight that war for you, after all? So in some ways, if I was President Biden, I would be saying, look, now's the time to sit back and say, I'm actually in command of my nation, despite what it looks like domestically. We are a democratic country. We're subject to democratic rule and the rule of law. But at this point, the world looks like there's a little chaos with respect to the largest nations. And remember, one last thing about Putin, he's got the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I get nervous when I see that the person who is supposed to be in charge of the nation with the largest nuclear arsenal in the world, who suddenly looks vulnerable domestically with him having his own launch codes. That's something we should always be concerned about after what we saw yesterday.
Certainly globally and chaos internally as well, because I want to speak about President Biden's there's two IRS whistleblowers who informed Congress that the Justice Department interfered in the IRS tax probe into Hunter Biden. This is despite evidence showing that Hunter received $8.3 million from foreign nations that he didn't pay taxes on. Thane, I'm going to go to you again because I want to hear legally, what do you think really happened here and what could happen?
So Sarah, I don't think you were born in the United States. Your accent suggests otherwise. But usually Americans freak out when they get a letter from the IRS, right? We don't like that. We get nervous the minute we see it. So this is something that we all can identify with, except that Hunter Biden did not get the standard IRS treatment. Right. So for people that are making the argument of two tiers of justice, what we're learning from the Durham report and from these two whistleblowers is that when it comes to the Bidens, people drag their feet, issues become unverified, the investigative techniques are stalled, they're not pursued in the normal standard. That's what's really most alarming about the whistleblower comments, right? To say, in each instance, our normal standard investigative techniques were ignored. We were simply told not to do what we would normally do.
Yeah.
So, the one issue I would say is that, to the extent to which there is the argument of the weaponization of the Justice Department, that only deepens that concern. And the fact that the government now has extended the trial on the documents case out to December, you know what that suggests to me? It suggests to me that when Jack Smith said, I want to pursue a speedy trial, all of a sudden, it's not just the classified nature of the documents.
Certainly.
I think he's worried about, I don't know if I want to pursue a speedy trial, rushing to judgment on Donald Trump when the country is seeing all the foot dragging that took place in connection with Hunter Biden. And we're still not talking about the laptop. We're just talking about the non-payment of taxes.
Yeah.
And even that looks like it's been
There's definitely something internal going on there. Yeah, Thane, sorry to cut you off. And Luke, we did want to come back to you as well, but we've run out of time, so we will see you again later on the show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us.